Ladies and gentlemen, if you'll please take your seats, the program will begin shortly. Again, our program will begin shortly. Please take your seats. Thank you.
Foster Angels has been an amazing organization. They don't get a lot of credit, so they're kind of like a little secret ninja that come in and just help where they need to.
It meant the world to me and to my unit at the time to have a resource like Foster Angels. When Foster Angels came on board, it opened up a wide array of different opportunities.
I think it's things that most people take for granted, that you can just go to the store and buy. Basic necessities like clothing, right? So people outgrow clothing, but also you need clothing throughout the seasons.
Most of the kids that come in and out of foster care come in with absolutely nothing. And for them to have shoes and clean clothes, summer camp paid for, that just really helps that specific child.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome, everyone. My name is Susie Belaja, and I chair the Foster Angels Board of Directors. I am so happy to be here today and be joined by board members, including our founders, Ted Oakley and Sarah Smith. And at this time, I'm going to ask the board to stand, please, so you can be recognized. Come on. I would also like to thank the First Lady, Cecilia Abbott, for joining us today. I am now thrilled to introduce all of you to our new Executive Director of Foster Angels of Central Texas, Terry Quinn.
It is amazing to see everyone here today. Thank you all for being here. It is so fun to see so many friends and family in the room. Shout out to my mom, Penny Burke, and her 2 tables of friends, and my good friends over here as well. I'm thrilled to be here as the new executive director of Foster Angels. They're big shoes to fill, but the minute I heard about Foster Angels, I said yes. I think within about 5 seconds, because I was drawn immediately to the wonderful mission, the incredible impact of what we do, and it's just a wonderful experience to be part of it for all of 5 months now. Many of you have been longtime supporters of Foster Angels, and some of you are new here today, and so what I hope is that you'll leave knowing more about our mission and our impact and leaving with some inspiration. We have an inspiring keynote speaker today, and 3 amazing award winners. The small but mighty staff of Foster Angels is here today. If you all will stand. This crew of 5, 6 with me, punches way above their weight in serving foster children all over Central Texas. We serve 30 counties, which is an amazing feat, but we do it with great partners all over Central Texas. Year-round, we enjoy support from the philanthropic community. Many thanks to those of you in the room. I especially want to thank the sponsors who are here today who have made this day possible. First of all, thank you to our presenting sponsor, American Bank. And to our Orion sponsor, SkyFi. As well to our Phoenix sponsors, many of whom I'm so grateful to, and to our Cosmo and Gemini sponsors as well. Our host committee is listed in your program, so check that out and you'll identify them by their name badges. I'm so grateful for them to inviting so many of you here today. And many thanks, of course, to Courtney Hill for her work on this event. So before we pause to enjoy more of our lunch, I should mention that we have a big goal today to raise funds in support of the work of Foster Angels. Throughout the program, we are going to share several examples of how we work in the community and what your generous support can make happen. And to provide even more incentive, we have some amazing matching gifts that are been given by our matching gift sponsors. Many thanks to Anderson Foundation, to Topfer Foundation, McBride Family Foundation, and the Tomlin Foundation. So, great time to make a gift and it'll be doubled. Before I leave the stage, I want to tell you about one of the programs that I'm most excited about. It's hard to pick just one because I am already just such a fan of everything we do. But not only do we work with children who are in foster care, working closely with CPS, CASA, and other advocates who bring us requests that they need for their foster child that they're working with. But also we work with older youth who are transitioning out of care. Those older kids are often sort of left without a caring adult in their life. They often face challenges such as homelessness. And we have an amazing program led by our director, Emily, that helps older kids find their anchor, find sustainability, find shelter, find food, clothing, all of these things to help them survive and thrive. And within that, we have the most amazing program called Bright Angel Scholars. And as you all know, education is the great door opener. But many foster children will say that they aspire to college but don't think it's within reach. And so we have an amazing scholarship program that helps make that dream possible. Provides for housing, food, clothing, books, all the things that can feel like a barrier to their success. And whether it's a 4-year degree, a 2-year degree, or a technical certificate, what we try to do is to work with those young people get them on a path to success and their own self-reliance and sustainability, and help them on their path forward. It's an amazing program. We've had great success. We have over a 60% completion rate, which is terrific. And we have right now 31 scholars in Central Texas being supported by this program. They're at UT, ACC, many are at Texas State. I want to welcome Dr. Kelly Dampus for being here today. He's an amazing advocate for the kids at Texas State. So this is the first opportunity to give. You will see in your program, you've got a QR code or an envelope. We invite you to consider a gift to our Bright Angel Scholars Program. Those scholarships range somewhere between $5,000 and $10,000 annually. Gifts of any amount help set another Bright Angel Scholar on the path to a degree and to post-secondary completion. So I'm going to leave you with that thought. Please enjoy your lunch, and then we'll be back in just a minute with Trevor Scott and our award winners. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Shining Stars. Trevor Scott here. I know we're all eating, we're all conversing. I know you're having great conversations, just like I was at my table. Shout out, 22, hey. My name is Trevor Scott, and I'm going to kind of get us kicked off here today. So thank you for being here. Please continue to enjoy your meals. We're going to get into the program, but thank you so much. Thanks for your attention. I'm so excited to be here. I know many of you in this room. That's actually one of my favorite things about the Shining Stars Luncheon is every year I kind of get to see this generous group of people who I know from other rooms throughout the year all together in this room for Foster Angels of Central Texas, and it thrills me. I was at a fundraiser for a music community this morning, and right into this room. These are the kind of days that really remind me how lucky we are to live in such a generous community like Austin, Texas. Can I get an amen? Didn't have to be an amen. It could be applause. Yes, yes. Also, it has me really riding a very big buzz of generosity today, so you're going to have to put up with me. I'm very excited to be here. I'm going to be calling on you all to be generous and excited about today's event. I'm really excited to be here. I was trying to do the math. I believe this is my seventh. It's my sixth or seventh Shining Stars Luncheon. I have worked with the Foster Angels of Central Texas for some time. My connection comes through my childhood. My parents, I always have to think of how to say this exactly so it makes sense. My mother and father were trained foster parents, and for my home, I had either a foster brother or a foster sister or both in my house from the age of about 10 to 18. So most of my childhood and teenage years, we were a home for foster children in my hometown. And I believe that really was a formative part of my childhood. It really formed a lot of my worldview and has made this a cause that's not just important to me professionally and for our community and out of empathy, but personally, I think it is such an important thing that's happening in this community, and Foster Angels is doing such an amazing job of supporting it. So I'm very, very, very happy to be here. I'll have a little bit of housekeeping. I'll be introducing our amazing Resilience Award recipients, so please get your tissues ready when we have these videos. It is very, very touching. Our goal, as you heard earlier, and I'm so happy to meet Terry and work with Terry now. This is such a new, fun, new era for Foster Angels. We are looking to raise $150,000 in the room today. So I know we're here, we've purchased tickets and tables, and you all are so generous. We are really hoping to kind of, in this room today, continue that fundraising for $150,000. So please keep scanning that QR code, send it to your friends. When you're posting on social media, if you're doing that, just definitely tag Foster Angels, let people know. Awareness is a big part of what we're doing here, so your friends can donate even if they're not in the room today. Every single donation made today here at the Shining Stars Luncheon will directly impact the lives of children in our community experiencing foster care. And a very special way to support these kids is by letting them participate in after-school activities with their peers. This is so important. Many of us probably did this and might take it for granted. But over the span of 1 year, the average cost for a child to participate in an extracurricular activity will be about $1,000. So that's a pretty hefty price tag for a kid who might not have the resources. So today, the donations made will cover, not only ensure that the kids in Foster Angels will be able to spend that extracurricular time with their peers, but also creates really positive childhood experiences. It will create memories that will impact them far beyond the experience itself into their lives. Just one example I have for you today, a little anecdote, helps kind of personalize it for you. 14-year-old Lucas, who Foster Angels fulfilled an extracurricular request for a little bit earlier this year. Lucas started at a brand new school, which we know is hard enough already. Now imagine all of the rest of the burden that Lucas carried into that experience. This was the third time in 2 years that Lucas started a brand new school. Completely new friends, completely new place. He was really apprehensive about making friends, as you might imagine, since he is naturally shy and is used to moving. However, his support team was determined to make this particular placement work. Hopefully this is it. We won't have to go anywhere else. And they noticed that Lucas had a really natural ability to play sports and encouraged him to try out for his new school's baseball team. When he made the team, you can imagine, he was ecstatic. But then he was quickly discouraged because I think any sports parents out there know the cost of all the things. The transportation, the gloves, the bat, the helmet, the sign-up fees, the uniform, all of that stuff. Many of you know all too well, really adds up. The lists went on and the costs added up. Well, when his caseworker sent the request to fund these needs to Lucas so he could participate, Foster Angels quickly ensured that Lucas could play on the team with everything he needed to succeed and be an all-star. And today, he's got a steady group of friends who he can play with and joke and just enjoy being a kid and a teammate with. So to help the hundreds more, and there is a list, hundreds more requests for foster angels in very similar situations to Lucas, please consider making a gift today to ensure that foster angels can say yes to helping kids be kids. That is the goal here, to always be able to say yes to these requests. And now, for the reason that we are here today, among many wonderful ones, I think this might be chief for many of you, we're all here for our resilience honorees. These are such special stories. They are so special that Maggie and the team at Foster Angels send me these videos ahead of time so I can watch them alone and get the tears out if I need to, because they are really emotional, and in the moment they really will tug at your heartstrings and let you know why this cause is so very, very important. The next three people you are about to meet, young people, were introduced to Foster Angels at a time of great need. So through their engagement with Foster Angels, we learned more about these three incredible individuals we're here to honor today with that coveted and beautiful Resilience Award. Let's take a look at this year's very first nominee, our Resilience honoree, Abel.
Resilience, to me, means the capacity to withstand or to bounce back from difficulties. So for me, I've been knocked down multiple times. My name is Abel. I've been in foster care for about 3 years now.
Abel first came to our home quite nervous, but he was very stoic and brave. He had to show his little brother that they were okay.
In total, I have 7 siblings. 3 live with me currently, and then the youngest 4 live with families of their own. Stability hasn't really been there in my life. My biological family has moved around a lot.
My husband and I started fostering with just an open mind of what would happen. We were matched with Abel and his brother, and they were presented with the option of coming to our house, and they agreed. And if you know Abel, you could literally do a checklist of all the activities that he does and the people that he's touched.
So I like running a lot, aerial silks, flying trapeze.
One of the other interesting things of many that he does is magic and sleight of hand. Abel is a little bit shy and a little bit of an introvert until you get to know him. So when you walk into a room and you don't know anyone, you can sit back, or you can do what he does and pull out his cards. And who doesn't want to see a magic show? So in this time, he's just blossomed from a scared kid, and now he's this confident young man who has his whole life in front of him.
Something I'd like to share for other foster kids that might be in a similar situation would be find a group of people to help you keep going. Find your support system. Those would be the people that keep cheering you on. It's okay to have things that happen unexpected in life, and that you can use that as an opportunity to grow instead of just staying down.
Yes, absolutely. A perfect example of resilience. And now I'm joined on stage, I believe John Greenwood is also joining us. John Greenwood from American Bank, and Terry is back on stage to present the award. But let's give a round warm of applause to Abel. Glad you take a photo over here.
Hello everybody, my name is Abel. I'm honored to be here before you, and definitely honored to be receiving this award. Whenever I first entered foster care, I thought my life was ending for a short period of time, but little did I know that was just the beginning of something greater that was meant to happen. I didn't know I'd be receiving this award, but I do believe that things happen for a reason and that I'm here for a reason. If not for foster care, I wouldn't have been able to do many of the things that I've been able to do that you saw in this video, and many more things that happened in my life. I would not have received a car last February. Thank you to Austin Angels, and shout out to you. Shout out to my mentor, Connor, who's here with us tonight, along with my family. They're so amazing. And I would not have gotten to meet them had I not entered foster care and had I not gone through all that I had to go through to be here. One day I hope to be among you, attending a luncheon or a gala and helping children in need like myself. Thank you all for being here.
One more huge round of applause. That is amazing. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things about these awards, and it happens every single year. We're honoring them for being resilient and incredible members of our community already. And the first thing that so many of them are thinking about is how they're going to move forward in life and help out other people. And it is so incredible. We see that every year. Thank you so much, Abel. Congratulations. Very, very cool. Yes, we can clap all day long. I'll take it. Our second resilience honoree is a very special young woman, Barbara. Barbara's going to make her way to the stage. We're going to learn a little bit more about this. We're going to do a photo, and then we're going to learn a little bit more. Barbara, I think you're coming up. Yes, there you are, Barbara.
My name is
and we're going to see this
Barbara,
video.
but I go by B. I have been in foster care since I was 8 years old. I was then placed in 3 placements with my sister. We then got split up, and I went to 28 placements after that. I had to learn how to be a kid in every home. I had 28 sets of rules, 28 sets of parents, 28 sets of always having my stuff in my suitcases.
Barbara's very creative. I think she's always sought outlets.
I'm very into art in general. I love singing, dancing. You are love, you bring light to the darkness, you give hope. I love to crochet. My grandma learned from her mom learned from her mom, and it is very soothing, and I love seeing what people can create with it.
Ever since, gosh, I feel like first meeting Barbara, she was such a girly girl, and she's loved getting into makeup and teaching herself and like watching YouTube videos. And what I love now watching her do makeup is like highlighting her most natural pieces about her instead of like covering up.
I always loved school. It was like an escape for me. I was like the only person in my family who did that. Like everybody would say, oh, she's not gonna graduate high school. But now I graduated high school and I'm going to college. First generation.
She is being rewarded with her dreams. She's able to go to Texas State. She's able to pursue a career that she can give back and help other foster children.
I realized that with my trauma and everything I've been through, that I can use that for the good and I can help other kids.
I hope to see Barbara pursue her dreams. I hope that Barbara understands how special she is and how she impacts others around her, and how with the ability to be so positive, she can change lives.
Barbara, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi, my name is Barbara, but I go by B. Today, I would like to share my college essay that my mentor, Kathleen, helped me write. We learn lessons through the obstacles and trials that we go through in life. But many times, we ourselves not only change for the better, but others do too. Some humans naturally use their trauma to help other people. For example, I use my testimony and share it with other people so that they know that they aren't struggling alone. While other people gatekeep their feelings for themselves, they did not process and don't allow their experiences to be used for the good. One lesson that I learned from a tremendous obstacle was to be grateful. Sometimes people aren't grateful until they lose it all. I wasn't grateful until I lost it. I was removed from my biological mother's custody when I was only 8 years old. I was then placed in 26 placements, which now turned into 28. I lived out of suitcases, felt guarded, didn't know who to trust, and lived on high alert. But I also have learned to see the good in life. Those next 28 placements taught me to be grateful. When you have lost a lot and have so little, it teaches you to appreciate even the simplest things in life. There were people who helped me open up my walls. I had to learn 28 times how to be a kid in a new place, a new home, new rules, new food, new boundaries, and new people, and a new school. What I learned is what I want to be to my future kids that I will foster one day. Another lesson that I learned from an obstacle was that trauma doesn't make you. A wise person named Gracie once told me that trauma isn't who you are. It's just traumatic things that you've gone through that you're still dealing with in the present. Who am I outside of foster care, though? I'm a thriving young girl who is working through the trauma fighting to be a survivor. The third lesson that I've learned from a monstrous obstacle was that sometimes even to live is an act of courage. When I was just 8 years old, I self-harmed for the first time, and when I was 13, I attempted suicide for the first time. I believe that life is way more than I thought it was. It has purpose and meaning, more than I ever could have imagined. No one knows the future. It can change tomorrow or at any time. But I would feel on top of the world if I was accepted into college and had the opportunity to live. The fourth lesson that I've learned was that I've got people who care for me and root for me, like the people at table 11. When the trauma and abuse started, I felt so alone. I felt as if I wasn't enough and no one cared. But little did I know, 7 years earlier, I met my saving grace, Kathleen. She was my case manager. Then she became my foster mom at only 22 years old. I was 11 at the time. And now she has been my mentor since 2018. She told me that I was going to be something someday, as my grandma did too. So here I am applying to Texas State University in hopes of getting in. In conclusion, trauma doesn't make you. It's just lessons learned. I know I still have much to learn, like budgeting, how to live, how to be responsible, how to live on my own, basically how to be an adult. I think college will give me the opportunity to learn these things and find myself and choose my career path, and now I am a first-generation college student at Texas State University.
Incredible. One more round of applause for Bede. Headed on to Texas State, which are churning out great people. A shout out to Kelly Dampus, who I had on my show recently. Another wonderful example of what's going on in this community. Very, very cool, Bede. Thank you so much. All right, we are now going to bring Astrid to the stage. Congratulations. This is our final Resilience honoree. Astrid will make her way to the stage, and you will check out this video.
When I first met Astrid, I thought she is going to rule the world. She had this passion. Her history was so traumatizing and so hard for her to be able to deal with at such a young age, but I knew that she was going to be able to do it.
My name is Astrid. I've been in care for 5 years now. When I was 14, I came from Honduras to the United States. My English was not great, not good at all. I didn't know any English whatsoever, so it was quite challenging understanding what my classmates were saying.
I wish Esther didn't have to be resilient. You know, there's so many obstacles that have been thrown at her just from coming to this country and learning English every step of the way. She says, I'm gonna do this, and she does it.
I'm studying exercise and sport sciences at Texas State. Since I was little, I really liked drawing. So after trying like cartoons and like anime and all of that, throughout time and like a little more practice, I started drawing faces a little better. When I'm stressed or anything, I just start painting.
So who I feel that Astrid is, she is a lady of faith because she's very active in the church. She continues to advocate for herself and advocate for other foster youth who are in care.
I find important to do things that are scary to me because I know that even though it scares me, I'm trying to support other people in my community and trying to just have the system be better for other kids and have them have the opportunities and the resources that I didn't and that I think are important.
She overcomes adversity very well. She doesn't let it stop her. She doesn't let trauma affect her in ways that it may most youth. She works through her trauma and then she's able to face it head on and she grows from it.
It's been so great to see her becoming more comfortable with who she is as a person, where she is in life, and just seeing her accomplish every single one of her goals as she goes along.
There has been people that have hurt me. There has been people who have thought about doing so to me. Maybe they're hurt and because they're hurt, they try to hurt somebody else instead of trying to understand that about themselves and trying to heal from that. So I'd rather break the cycle and heal myself and show love.
Ladies and gentlemen, Astrid.
Well, it's not my first time speaking in public, but I am a little nervous. There's a lot of people in here. First, I want to say thank you to Foster Angels for giving me the opportunity to be here and for granting me with this honor. Beyond grateful. For the longest, I thought that my efforts to do better were not recognized, but Foster Angel has always been one of my biggest supporters. They've always been there for me for school, for whatever supplies I need, even emotionally. I was really close to our last director. She's right there, Tanya. I love Tanya. I've loved working with Emily. She's always there whenever you need her. A lot of the things I didn't say in the video were because I didn't want to be graphic. And because in that moment, I didn't really practice anything to say. So there's a lot of cuts that they decided to just take out. Thank God. There were some hummus comments made with nacho chips for some reason. But, you know, there's a lot of things I would love to say that I didn't say in the video, probably because I was nervous, probably because I thought they were not important. But I do believe that they're important because I didn't really talk too much about my struggles, and I know there are foster kids in here that they might need to hear these. There has been moments where I've thought about just dropping out of school or just, they didn't really put it in the video, but I had a little bit of struggle during COVID when it came to high school. Online classes were not my thing at all. But here I am, I graduated with honors and a 3.8 GPA. So, there's gonna be moments where you think that you're not good enough, maybe because of what society says. Sometimes the system is set for you to fail, but we're here and we have to show them that that's not right, that we have the power to actually do a change for ourselves. At first, I always thought that I went to college not because the rates for foster care were low, but because I want to do something for myself. But I do believe that it's important for me to break that cycle and actually show that we are here and we want to study, we want to grow, we want to do things for ourselves and others in our community. In March of 2023, there was a really bad moment for me. Throughout a couple of years, I lived in Safe Alliance. I see Ali over there, I think. Hi. It was a transitional living place where I was surrounded by other kids, so I was never really alone. I transitioned into SIO, that is supported independent living. I was alone for the first time in a couple of years. And even though I used to complain a lot about the people I was living in because, you know, different cultures, different ways of doing things, I started missing the way some of the kids lived, you know, the egg things, the little box in the fridge, stuff like that, just because I felt the company. I miss the company that at some point I wasn't really happy with. Throughout that time, I was struggling with depression and anxiety. So there was a moment where I thought that I wasn't good enough. Stuff was happening, and I tried taking my life. But I am beyond grateful that I'm here. I'm beyond grateful that even after that, I decided to keep resilient. I had issues with my mom, and lots of times she reminded me that my karma will be having a baby girl like me. And now I come to understand that I'll be beyond grateful if that was the case, because I will have a beautiful, independent, and really smart little girl.
Congratulations to Astrid, and let's honor all of our resilience honorees today. Astrid, Abel, and B, congratulations. Not only as you've witnessed, is that resilience helped them survive, but I think we can all agree that they are thriving, and we are witnessing future leaders, and it's so special. And also, I think it's a great opportunity to thank the incredible families and organizations and people that have surrounded them as well to help them in their resilient journey. So let's give all of those families a round of applause as well. All right, so I wasn't just checking my text messages, I promise. I was getting messages from the group behind the magic curtain, and we are getting really close to our $150,000 goal today. So you all have really brought it. Yes, thank you for being generous. We appreciate it, but let's keep that up to help children just like Barbara and Abel and Astrid also stand in this room someday with stories of resilience. As you continue to make your donations, which we truly appreciate, I'd like to welcome the man whose vision has improved the lives of more than 45,000 foster children in foster care in Central Texas, the founder and the chairman emeritus of Foster Angels, our good friend, many of you know and love, Ted Oakley, to the stage, who will introduce this year's keynote speaker.
I always tell Trevor I wish I had that voice. Never had it. I want to just give a couple things, if I could. First Lady's here today, Texas. And probably, if you don't know this, she's been a major advocate for foster children in adoption, heart galleries. And I'd like to give us a big round of applause for Cecilia Abbott. Also, I want to thank, you've already seen our board, I appreciate that, but also want to thank Susie Belasia, who's been a great president for us for the last 2 years, and just wonderful. And Terry Quinn, our executive director, who has already made her mark on Foster Angels, and she is a real pro. And she and the staff, Maggie Shepard and the rest of them, done a super job. And I do want to mention something. I know she wouldn't want me to say this, but many years ago, the girl that helped me start this was my daughter, Sarah Smith, who's here, very pregnant, about to have a baby, and I'm weak. And appreciate everything they've given so much, she and Clint, to foster kids, and adopted 2 foster kids themselves. So I'm really glad Sarah could be here, very pregnant for sure. And last but not least, I want to thank my wife, Nancy, who, as usual, all of you know Nancy, is behind the scenes. But I appreciate everything she does. I'll give you 2 stories that just happened in the last 2 weeks, by the way. I had a lady walk up to me last week and said, hey, I was driving and a DPS officer stopped me. She didn't have a front license plate, so it's not major, but she stopped me and she found out that I was going to this meeting where there's going to be some foster angel employees there. And the lady said, DPS Officer Marino said, you know, I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for foster angels. She said, I was raped by a family member at 14. I got kicked into foster care for the next 4.5 years. Foster Angels supported me all the way through that, through the education. She said, I'm here today because of Foster Angels. 2 days later, I get an email from a guy at the University of Texas, employee, and I'm going to have coffee with him. And he said, on a subject, and he said, you don't know this, but I was a foster child. And he said, one of the reasons I'm here today is because of Foster Angels. And what I'm trying to say to people, and my last thank you, is to everybody in this audience, and try to let you know that what you do is you change a life. Our motto is, if you change their thinking, you'll change their life. And when you change that life, you change a legacy for generations to come, not just that person. And that's how the good of this goes. Yeah, this money goes to pay some overhead, but it really goes to change lives. So I want to thank you all for your hard-earned money and to be here today for sure. Which leads me into this speaker we have today. This lady, her name is Melissa Rashawn, one word. We call her Melro, is so fantastic. And when you stop thinking about what's happened to her, she was in the depths of despair in foster care. and had so many things in her life that got in the way. I mean, she is a success story to beat all success stories. So I want to give a big Austin round of applause for Melrose.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hello. Before I ever speak, I say this prayer, and it is not to shine, but to serve. And I've said this for years. So the Shining Stars Luncheon is in alignment with who I am. Hi, Garrett. Garrett and his fiance, I met them on the elevator. Everyone say congratulations. They're getting married soon. It's not lost on me that being on this side of foster care is a privilege. Today's speech is dedicated to all my brothers and sisters that live in foster care. If you have ever lived in foster care, please stand up for me. Notice that I said for all of my brothers that live in foster care. I never said foster children. They're children that live in foster care. Can we all come to the agreement that we will stop calling our youth in foster care foster children? When we make the distinction of using person-first language, we see the child first. You are all here because you understand that. Because you understand that we do not want their environment to become their environment. And so by us being willing to serve in whatever capacity that we choose to serve in, it prevents that from happening. How many of us also know that resilience is exhaustive? So when we see Astrid, Barbara, and we also see, tell me his name? Abel, which, by the way, I met Abel in the hallway. Abel, wait, raise your hand, honey. Where are you? And I said, what did I say to you? I said, to have your level of calm. The way this young man was just walking through like a sensei, to get to that level of peace, it requires great work. Being resilient is exhaustive. In full transparency, I don't really sleep. I'm a few years removed from foster care. However, I still experience those post-traumatic stress syndrome dreams. So I do want to say seriously to Ted and Nancy and the team, thank you for even the accommodations, dear brother. I slept last night. I skipped dinner so that I could rest. So today when you're hearing my story, you're not just hearing me. You're hearing many youth in foster care. I want to highlight the 3 honorees because what these youth have done is they have transformed their pain to purpose, their traumas to triumph, and their wounds to wisdom. And I am so very proud of them. So before we get into this, I was just naturally curious as what a star is, right? I wanted to see what that definition meant. Stars are giant balls of hot gas, mostly hydrogen with some helium and small amounts of other elements. So humans, probably a lot of gas in this room too after the cheese, right? But I bet they didn't like that joke. We're gonna keep moving on. Thank you. Friends, I'd like to tell you about a star. This star's name is Sarah. Sarah lives in foster care and has lived there since she was 13 and a half years old. She's lived in foster care due to what? Family abuse. Sarah is walking down the street one day and she sees a man from a neighborhood that always made her feel very uncomfortable. And against Sarah's better judgment, and also because she was lonely, she went with this older man into his home. He brutally raped her that day. And Sarah became pregnant. She became pregnant with a baby that she named Melissa Roshan. I have once been described as a product of rape, but I'm actually a product of grace. I was never a foster child. I was a baby with a lot of potential. Born 6 months gestation, not expected to live, diagnosed as being autistic. brutally burned on my right hand when I was 9 months old, and it was so bad that I would have to be transported to full-blown foster care. I was placed with Sarah's biological mom. Her biological mother was very abusive, right? Because like Astrid let us know, the wounded that are unhealed will wound. Hurt people hurt people. And so my grandmother brutally burned me, and from that experience, I was placed into full-blown foster care. If you look at this baby picture of myself, you are going to notice that I've got these sad eyes, don't I, right? But if you look at my bottom lip, you will see that it is swollen due to childhood trauma. When I look at this photo, it reminds me to continue to do the work and to continue to heal my own inner child. The abuse was horrific. I remember it as if it were now. I was placed into my first foster home and had to be taken away from that home because the foster family believed that Black people did not have souls. Well, the issue is that I am Black and I am Latina. So that meant to them I didn't have a soul. I was placed into another foster home, and then another, and then another. By the time I was 15 years old, I had lived in a total of 20 placements. And every time I would carry my things, friends, I would carry them in black trash bags. This is unacceptable. This is why organizations like Foster Angels is so integral, because when a child has to carry their things in black trash bags, the message that it conveys to them is that they're not worth anything more than the trash bags that they carry, friends. And children, they will rise to the occasion of who we make them believe they are and who we make them believe they are not. And as my placements began to increase, my behavioral problems started to increase, right? And people, not any of you, right? The other people, they'd say things like, what's wrong with that kid? Rather than asking, like Foster Angels does, what has happened to that kid and what is it that I can do on my watch to change their outcomes? If you look at the photo of me at 15 with a discerning eye, you'll see, one, those sad eyes again. You're also going to see I'm wearing a bandana because at this time at 15, I was looking for family, so I would join a gang, realizing very quickly that they were not my family. But also I'd like you to notice what I'm doing with my hands. I am covering my hands, friends, because the burn mark, the burn scar that I don't even see anymore. I just see I need a manicure. Hello. Thank you. Jeez, come on. Give a girl her laughs. So, I'm covering my scars because I believed, I'm just checking the time. I'm a preacher girl, so I can kind of run on. All right, so I'm covering my hands, friends. Why? Because I was so ashamed of my scars, like many of our youth in foster care. Why were you ashamed of your scars, Mel? Well, because the first person that was sent to nurture me burned me. If this scar was on my hand because I had been wrestling a tiger in Tibet, well, I would have wanted to tell everyone at my table about that story. That's a great dinner joke. But no, my truth was a lot deeper. And so I would go throughout my life trying to cover my scars. I want us to all remember this, that it is our scars that make us beautiful. And let's not even call them scars. They're flossomness, the flaws that make us blossom. And once we begin to help our youth accept every part of their story and reframe in their mind and change narratives, they can see themselves, as Barbara said, past their stories, past their pain, and that they are a person first. After I was in foster care for a while, and I would eventually end up going to my 21st placement, which was a juvenile detention center for selling drugs. I got out in 6 months and went to high school and met a boy, and guess what, friends? He also lived in foster care. Is that a coincidence? Or do we have something deeper? A trauma bond, right? So we were bonded together by our traumas. That's what brought us together. And let me tell you, 2 hormonal kids without any wraparound services. When I say wraparound services, I mean added support, like foster angels. We're going to perpetuate cycles. And so that's exactly what happened. We kept fighting. There was domestic violence. We were living in very impoverished conditions. I lived in an attic space that you couldn't even stand up on one side. The room smelled like urine. I thought I was in heaven because finally I had my first chance at a little family. So when my son's Trey, when his father started to beat me, I just took it because I figured love hurts, because that is what I experienced in foster care. I would eventually almost end up losing my son to the foster care system because the fighting had gotten out of control. But I had a CASA volunteer, court-appointed special advocate, yes, who was there to stand in the gap and helped me to receive another opportunity, and that was to keep my son. We lived in a homeless teen shelter for 2 years. My son is 27 now. A graduate from college. He's an engineer, but he has never seen his father. I raised him completely on my own. At the end of my stay at the Aradell Mitchell Home Teen Parenting Homeless Shelter in Seattle, Washington, where I am from, I was approached by someone who said something to me that I didn't believe. She said that I was beautiful and asked if I had ever considered modeling. Because I knew the scars that I carried in my mind and in my heart, in my soul, and on my hands. So how could I be beautiful? She gave me her business card. I called 2 weeks later, and I ended up getting signed to one of the top modeling agencies in Seattle. I became so successful as a model that I would end up moving to New York. I arrived there July 31st, 2001. Right before 9/11. I didn't know that I was resilient until I lived through that. That experience was very much like COVID for a lot of our children in foster care, where things were very uncertain, where the world shut down. And experiences like that make you think about certain people in your life. And I thought about my biological family. I wanted to know them. I wanted to know their names. I wanted to talk to them and ask them questions. And so I Google searched them and wasn't able to find their information. We'll show you the next slide here. And so I just decided that I was going to totally focus on modeling and never on that foster care stuff. You think I was successful at that? No, I tried. But I'd love to tell you about my first modeling job, proof that scars make us beautiful. So family, I walk on set. Baby, when I tell you that my face was, I'm going to teach you 3 words today. My face was very beat. Now, beat in the makeup modeling world means that your makeup has been applied in such a way that it is fabulous. So my face was beat. Perfect. I walked in, I was looking, and the next word is slayed from head to toe. I was looking from head to toe. You couldn't tell me anything. My hair was together, everything was on point. I couldn't wait to be on my first modeling job. And so the director gets me on set, puts both of my hands out, and stands me there and says, so we're not going to be photographing any part of you other than your hands today, but you look beautiful. And that's when I had my first panic attack, because I knew that they were about to look at my scars. And then I thought about all the ways I could sabotage this opportunity. And then I thought about New York rent. And thank you. Love y'all. Come on. I appreciate you all so much. So I thought about that New York rent and decided that I would go forward with the job. So the photographer starts to photograph me, and no one's saying anything about my hands, which I thought was very peculiar. When the print modeling ad came out, and so many more to this day. They never removed the scars on my hands. Why? Because our scars make us beautiful. And that has stuck with me. So I would go throughout my journey, certainly trying to forget about my painful past. I was on magazine covers and music videos and movies and all kind of things. And I would marvel at the fact that people would like my things on social media. It made me so happy. But I didn't truly like myself. I was struggling, friends. I would eventually end up getting married. I am now divorced. I would end up getting married and found myself in a domestic violence situation again. How? Is it that all men are bad? Well, Nancy knows that no, they're not. We have great men, right? But I was in resonance with that type of energy. I was still attracting those type of people because I didn't believe and I didn't know that love should not hurt. And in that domestic violence situation, it got so low that I decided to we heard some of our youth talk about this. Things get so heavy for the resilient that we kind of want to exit sometimes. We kind of want to make permanent decisions over problems that we don't realize are temporary. Astrid, Barbara, Abel, it's all temporary. It all passes, friends, it all passes, but we don't know that unless we continue to push forward. Friends, I saw value in my pictures, but I did not see value in my life. I did not have a foster angels in my ear telling me that you're meant for so much greater, and also here's some support. That's why organizations like this are so integral. So I laid in a psych ward by myself, and I knew that I had only two options here. I could either, after being on the edge of this bridge, getting ready to take my life, and I knew as I laid in that psych ward that I had two choices. I could either rise or I could not. Both of them would have consequences and both would be difficult. I decided to choose my hard, much like many of you are today. I know that the economy is tricky. I know that serving in child welfare is not easy, but yet you've decided to choose your hard, and I salute you. I got back up. I got a divorce. I'm in therapy because we don't just go to the doctor when we're sick, and this work can be draining. And I began to rise, and I began to practice what is called radical self-acceptance, believing that my narrative is only part of my story. It is not the sum total of who I am. And then I began speaking, and I was terrified to speak. I still am. But I realized that by not doing that, then I'm not uplifting the babies, the youth in foster care that need someone to say, hey, shining the light here so that we can be the change that we wish to see. I will go on and I will continue to speak. A lot of times to youth that haven't even lived in foster care. A lot of times to agencies that couldn't relate to my story. But we've all been acquainted with pain. We can all relate to adversity. And that is how I have been able to continue to connect. I would end up becoming a foster parent trainer and then certified foster parents, which is wild to me because prior to healing, I was like, I don't want anything to do with foster care. After healing, it's like, I can't imagine not having anything to do with foster care. Friends, why? Because what breaks us can lead to our breakthrough. And the breakthrough for others, provided that we do the work. So eventually, as I said, I would go on to see my son graduate from college as an engineer. I'm sorry, youth in foster care can't do what? Teen moms can't do what? Exactly. Thank you, God. And I would also end up seeing my daughter, just 16 years old, become a 2-time published author and music producer and straight A student. But what is more compelling about both of my children is they passed the age, because she's almost 17, they passed the age of 16 and they are not teen parents. They have not lived in foster care. We break cycles, not one another. And then I was like, if I could live in 23 placements in foster care, I can do anything. So I went to Ghana, which is part of my heritage. Ghana is in West Africa. And I didn't go over there with the savior complex. No one has that in this room. We just see work that needs to be done, and we get it done. Don't have a lot of letters behind my name, but I have love in my heart, Mr. and Mrs. Garrett. Then I have tenacity and resilience. Resilience. And I decided that I would build a school. So I built a school in 2018 and called it Melrose Girls School. And over 400 youth attended that school, as well as lived in the orphanage. I did shut that down in COVID, but I did it because I told these kids that I would do it. How many of us have made a promise to a child? And how many of us have not kept that promise at some point? I have. And I remember that it broke that kid's heart. I promised to mentor a kid, not realizing I wasn't in the emotional space to do it. And I've vowed to never do the same. So with that being said, everyone in this room, you might have been called to be a foster parent. You might have been called to be a CASA volunteer. You might have been called to be a mentor. You might have been called to write a check. It is enough, it is enough, it is enough, because we are all one in this collective doing our respective work. The point is that we want to continue to do something. So in closing, friends, I wanted to find out what the meaning of shine means, and it's of the sun or other source of light, giving out a bright light. As an example, the sun shone through the window, so to give out bright light. But then I wanted to kind of know a little bit more, so I looked up the second part of my first name. My name is Melissa Roshan. Melissa was my mother's foster sister who passed away tragically while she lived in foster care. Roshan means to give light. When my mother was pregnant, she wanted to abort me. We can understand that. There was an Indian woman in the neighborhood who was praying over her belly and insisted Roshan was inside of her belly. Roshan means to give light. I take my name very serious, even though I was in the midst, Ted, of a lot of darkness. At some point I said, I am going to be the change that I wish to see. I am not, like in terms of success, accomplishments, it's not my children necessarily, it's not the school that I built, it's my willingness to have said, those certain things run in my family, they're going to run out with me. I am going to be the change that I wish to see, even when I'm tired, even when there might not be enough money, even when I'm going to shine my light. But guess what? I'm not a special person. You all are me and I am you. You are just as bright as a light as I am. But sometimes what happens is throughout our journeys, experiences happen and make us forget that. So I'm here to say that that is what you are. Friends, we are all made up of light, okay? We are all beautiful love energy in human form. There are some human beings that do not know who they are because of deeply painful lived experiences. Let us help ignite their lights through the ways we shine our light. We do this through our service, selflessness, willingness to listen, and provide the type of response that allows the work of Foster Angels of Central Texas to continue. Friends, the picture on the left is me when I was 2. The picture on the right is me now. No, I did not plan to wear the same wardrobe. It is proof that we never know who a child might become. I would like you all to, let's all ground in this for a moment. I wasn't going to do this, but I am. I'd like you to place your hands over your heart. You can awkwardly stare at me, or you can close your eyes or awkwardly stare at your neighbor. And just repeat after me. I am a light. I don't believe you. I am a light. I commit to shining that light for myself and others. Say it again. I commit to shining that light for myself and others. Because I know it is not to shine, but to serve. Friends, thank you. To be on the side of foster care, after all that I have, is a blessing. Ted, brother, Nancy, sister, and staff, thank you for allowing myself to have a voice and for honoring our honorees. I love you all because I am you and you are me, and I wish you a wonderful duration of the day. Thank you.
If you'll give us one more minute, I did want to say something about Melrose. Her son Trey took her to the senior prom as his date. Now, you think a lot of your mom if you do that, for sure. But what I want you to do is just share with you a lot of the people, older, younger kids we've helped over the years. And if you would, watch this and then we'll be finished. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming and have a great day. Thanks, everybody.